When I was 12 years old, my parents hosted a birthday party for my younger sister at our old Victorian house. About 8 kids showed up, and as the evening grew dark, someone suggested we play hide and seek. The rules were simple. The entire house was fair game, including the creepy basement that none of us really liked going into. I was chosen as the seeker first. I counted to 50 with my eyes closed, listening to the thunder of footsteps scattering throughout the house. When I opened my eyes, the house had fallen eerily silent. I began my search, checking behind curtains, under beds, and inside closets. One by one, I found the other kids. My best friend Jake was hiding behind the couch. My sister and 2 of her friends were crammed into the bathroom. Another kid was in my parents' closet. After 20 minutes, I had found everyone except Tommy, the quiet kid from down the street. We all started calling his name, thinking maybe he'd fallen asleep or gotten scared. No response. My mom came downstairs and asked what was wrong. When we told her Tommy was missing, her face went pale. "Kids," she said slowly, "I need you to tell me exactly how many of you were playing." "8 of us," my sister replied. "Why?" My mom's hands were shaking. "I counted 9 children run past me when the game started. I specifically remember because I thought, that's odd, we only invited 8 kids. The room went cold. We had all been found. But if my mom had seen 9 children running, who was the 9th? We frantically searched the house again, this time with my dad's help. That's when we heard it, a scraping sound coming from the basement. My dad grabbed a flashlight, and we all slowly descended the wooden stairs. The basement was dark and musty, filled with old furniture and boxes. Then we saw him. Tommy was crouched behind the old water heater, his eyes wide with absolute terror, a finger pressed to his lips in a desperate shushing gesture. He was shaking so violently we could hear his teeth chattering. My dad rushed over to him. "Tommy, son, what's wrong?" Tommy whispered, barely audible. "Someone else is down here." I heard breathing behind me in the dark, heavy breathing. And then I felt a hand touch my shoulder, and a voice whispered, "Found you." But when I turned around, no one was there. I've been hiding here for 10 minutes, too scared to move because I can still hear footsteps walking around in the dark. They're not yours. They were here before you came down. My dad shined his flashlight around the basement. In the far corner, we all saw it. A section of the wall that looked different. Upon closer inspection, my dad discovered a small door, barely 3 feet tall, that led to a crawl space we never knew existed. The door was slightly ajar. Inside the crawl space, police later found evidence that someone had been living there. A sleeping bag, empty food containers, and most disturbingly, a list of names. Every child at the party was on that list, with check marks next to 7 names. Only Tommy's name remained unchecked. We never played hide and seek again. This happened during a family reunion at my uncle's farmhouse in rural Iowa. I was 15 and my cousins, ranging from ages 8 to 16, were all standover for the weekend. The farmhouse was massive and old, sitting on 20 acres of land with a barn, cornfields, and a dense patch of woods at the property's edge. On the second night, my older cousin Derek suggested we play hide and seek outside since it was a full moon. The adults were inside, playing cards and drinking, so they gave us permission as long as we stayed within shouting distance of the house. Derek started counting while the rest of us, about 12 kids total, ran off to hide. I chose a spot behind the barn, concealing myself between 2 hay bales. From my position, I could see several of my cousins hiding in obvious spots. My little cousin Maya was behind a tree that was way too thin to hide her.
My cousin Josh was in the bed of my uncle's pickup truck. Then I heard Derek's voice. "Ready or not, here I come." But something was wrong. Derek's voice sounded strange, deeper somehow, and it was coming from the woods, not from the porch where he'd been counting. I peeked around the hay bales and could see Derek still standing on the porch, looking confused. "Did you guys hear that?" he shouted to us. We all emerged from our hiding spots, equally puzzled. That's when we heard it again. "Ready or not, here I come." This time it was louder, definitely coming from the woods, and it didn't sound quite human. The voice was like someone imitating Derek, but getting it slightly wrong. The pitch was off, the cadence too slow. "Everyone inside, now," Derek said, his voice cracking with fear. We all ran toward the house, but my little cousin Maya tripped and fell, and as I turned back to help her, I saw something that still gives me nightmares. Standing at the edge of the woods was a figure, tall, impossibly thin, with limbs that were too long. In the moonlight, I couldn't make out its face, but I could see it was looking directly at us. And then it started counting. 1, 2, 3. I grabbed Maya and ran faster than I've ever run in my life. As we sprinted toward the house, the counting got louder and faster. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We burst through the door and slammed it shut, all of us talking at once, trying to explain to the adults what we had seen. My uncle grabbed his shotgun and went outside with 2 other men. They searched the property for over an hour. They never found anyone. But the next morning, we found something that made my blood run cold. In the soft dirt near where we had been hiding, there were footprints. They weren't human. They were too long, with only 3 toes, and they were spaced impossibly far apart, as if whatever made them had been taking strides of 10 feet or more. The footprints led from the woods, circled around every single spot where a child had been hiding, and then led back into the woods. Whatever it was, it had found all of us. The local sheriff came out and took photos, but he had no explanation. He mentioned that there had been old Native American legends about something called the Seeker that lived in those woods, a creature that played games with children who wandered too close to its territory. We left the farmhouse that day and never went back. Years later, I learned that the property had been abandoned. No one would buy it, and my uncle refused to even visit. The farmhouse still stands empty, and locals say that on nights with a full moon, you can sometimes hear a voice counting from the woods.
I was 10 years old when my family moved into a 1920s craftsman house in Portland. The house was beautiful, but had a strange layout with odd little spaces and doors that seemed to lead nowhere. My parents loved it because it had character. I was excited because I thought all those spaces would make for perfect hiding spots. One rainy Saturday afternoon, my 2 best friends, Emma and Marcus, came over to play. We decided to play hide and seek since the weather was too miserable to go outside. My mom was upstairs working in her home office, and Dad had gone to the hardware store. I was seeking first. Emma and Marcus ran off giggling while I counted to 30 in the living room. When I opened my eyes, I started searching. I found Emma pretty quickly. She was hiding behind the shower curtain in the downstairs bathroom. But Marcus was good at this game. 20 minutes went by and I couldn't find him anywhere. Emma joined me in the search and we looked in every closet, under every bed, behind every piece of furniture. Nothing. "Marco!" we called out, using our code word for when someone was too well hidden. Silence. We searched for another 10 minutes, getting increasingly worried. That's when Emma noticed something. In the hallway upstairs, there was a small door, maybe 2 feet by 2 feet, built into the wall near the floor. We'd never really paid attention to it before. The door was slightly open. "Marcus?" I called out, kneeling down to look inside. The space beyond the door was dark, but I could hear something. Breathing. And then Marcus's voice, small and scared. "Help me! I can't find the way out!" That was strange. The space was tiny. You could see the back wall with a flashlight.
Emma ran to get one while I tried to talk to Marcus. "Just crawl back out, Marcus. The door's right here."
I can't see it, he whimpered. It's so dark in here. And I think there's someone else in here with me. I keep hearing whispering.
Emma came back with a flashlight and shone it into the space. We both gasped. The space was empty. Completely empty. No Marcus. But we could still hear him, his voice seeming to come from inside the wall. "Please, help me. It's getting smaller in here. The walls are moving closer." My mom came running downstairs after hearing our screams. She looked into the space, then at us with confusion. "Marcus isn't in there. Where is he?" That's when we heard the front door open. My dad walked in, and behind him was Marcus, soaking wet from the rain. "Sorry I'm late. I found Marcus walking down the street. He said he came over, but no one answered the door, so he was heading home." Marcus looked at us confused. "Yeah, I knocked for like 5 minutes. I thought you guys forgot I was coming over." Emma and I stood frozen. If Marcus had never entered the house, then who had been calling for help from inside the wall? My mom slowly approached the small door and closed it firmly. Her face had gone completely white. "Kids, I need to tell you something about this house." She explained that when we'd bought the house, the previous owners had mentioned that their young son had died in the home in the 1950s. He'd been playing hide and seek with his siblings and had somehow gotten stuck in the crawl space behind that very door. By the time they found him, it was too late. They said sometimes they'd hear him calling out, "Still playing the game, still hiding, waiting to be found," Mom whispered. We had the door sealed shut the next day, nailing boards across it, and eventually covering it with drywall. But sometimes, late at night, I'd wake up to the sound of small fists pounding on the walls from inside and a child's voice, faint and desperate. "Ready? Or not? Here I come. Won't someone please find me?" We moved out 6 months later. The nightmares were too much. I'm 30 years old now, but I refuse to play hide and seek with my own children. Some games, once started, never truly end.
The end. These stories are based on allegedly true accounts shared online. Whether you believe them or not, one thing is certain. The next time someone suggests playing hide and seek in an old house, you might want to think twice.